Hello, everybody. Welcome, 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 welcome. We got a Sunday service, Sunday message going on. And the theme for today's message is love is bonded in security. Love is bonded in security. All right. Now, if you guys have been following my page, you guys realize I just kind of press play and I just kind of flow into the message. All right. This is how I communicate. I am feminine energy. I do understand that there's others who are very meticulous, right? And they plan. I often don't really plan. In the morning, I just kind of follow what my higher self tells me to do. I sit down, I write some notes, right, in my meditation. Then I just come and I present it to you. Now, as you guys are watching my videos, you're going to start seeing, as there are going to be some things that I was a little rocky on, but for the most part, there is a repetition of lessons, right? And then it's solidified in my own personal, it's integrated in my own personal life, right? This happens regardless if I press play or not, and if I present it to you. Okay. But the point is, I'm not afraid of what of you guys watching me become, right? It's the art of becoming. Okay. And so there's some things I'm going to trip up on, some things I don't really explain well. There's going to be a lot of uhs and ums. It's not because I'm not confident in my spirit, because I've already been validated through many different experiences in my life. But it's just the fact that I'm doing this to watch you guys, to help you guys watch what it looks like to become. Okay. So I just want to make sure that was out there. Today's lesson is about love being bounded in security. Okay. And how insecurity can only bring forth fragments of love. Okay. Another big thing too is that I'm not afraid of being corrected, and that is the problem, right? I'm not perfect. I never want that to be the case. Once I've actually, am shining the light of integration, I just want to make sure that everyone understands I'm not perfect, but I will always seek the truth in all things. Okay. So in that space, there isn't like a room for egoic identities. Okay, that's the first thing that is submitted humbly when you're seeking knowledge. Okay, you can't be holding on to certain principles and then still trying to receive the correct answer. Okay, all right. Let me take a pause. Alrighty, all the disclaimers are out the way. Okay, so today we're talking about love. We're talking about security. And then we're allowing spirit to go ahead and fill in the rest, because we trust the process. Okay, we trust the sacral energy exchange. Okay, we're going to talk about sacral energy. We're going to talk about sexual energy as well. But let's start. Okay, so the first thing that was given this morning was there isn't a wrong answer, just misaligned ones. Okay, there isn't a right or wrong. It's just there's things that are in alignment with what you want, and then there's things that are not aligned with what you want. Okay, and then what you're trying to do is trying to get to the frequency to attain the thing that you want, because these things already exist. That reality in which you are living your best life, all your wants and desires that you ever dreamed of when you were younger, the things that made your heart really excited, it is already there on a certain frequency. So you have to rise to the occasion of it. Okay, which requires a lot of sacrificing, right? And it depends on what are the things that you're choosing to sacrifice. Okay. And when we go through our cycles, right, because everything is a cycle, when we go through these cycles, you have to make a decision whether or not you're going this way or that way. Okay. Which path are you taking? Now, we all end up where we need to be at the end, right? It just matters how many cycles does it take for you to get there. You talk about no child left behind. All right. So no child is technically left behind. It's just that, okay, are you graduating early? Are you graduating on time? Okay. It's just about your resonance. Okay. Resonance never lies. Okay. It shows the path that's aligns with self-love. Okay. If you are not choosing self-love, you're choosing something else. It misses you're missing the frequency. You're missing the wave. Okay. You're missing the wave. All right. And you want to ride the waves, not get underneath it. Now, if you are stuck underneath it, you have to know how to swim. All right, this is for all my deep divers. Shout out to Ralph Smart, okay, for laying some really solid foundation for everyone to find their way out of lower level frequencies. Okay? All right. Now, the frequency of love is the key point. I'm going to take a pause, but I just want to end with this part on this segment is love just is. Love is expressed. Okay? Love is a frequency. Okay, if you can meet to that frequency, a lot of different portals and realities can open up for you. But if you haven't, if you're still underneath that wavelength, okay, it's going to bring a lot of misalignment, because at the end of the day, love is the key thing. I know it sounds very cliche, right? And I think when we think about Christianity and I guess the idea of Jesus, is that's the energy, right? I don't care what foundation you have. If whatever consciousness that you're downloading, make sure that self-love is a key point. Okay? Loving oneself, because the way you love oneself is how you emit that light of love onto others. Okay? It's not self-sacrificing. Okay? That's the whole point. It's not, you don't have to become a savior or be crucified. You don't have to be crucified. Okay? You just need to align with the frequency of love and then allow the universe to do the heavy lifting. It's really that simple. Okay? Let me take a pause. Alrighty. So next we have love is protection. It's safe. It offers acceptance, and it is respected. Okay? When we talk about the feminine energy, in particularly, we are saying that, and we want to experience love. We want to experience a bond with our counterpart. It has to be safe. It has to be accepting, and it has to show a matter of respect for. Okay? This is what we're looking for when we look for divine masculine mates. Okay? Is that safety, and we're talking about emotional, mental, and physical safety, right? If you can't provide that, then we're not in love. Okay? These are things I can provide for myself. I put myself in a safe environment. I put myself in an emotionally stable environment, which I can allow my emotions to be expressed without causing harm to others and still be truthful to my heart. Okay? Still emotional, right? And then mental. The things that I feed myself are healthy, conducive things to my growth. It's fertile. Okay, it's not destructive, right? Because if I'm feeding myself mentally destructive things, I will embody that, because women are the receivers. We are the embodiers. We are the programmers. We have a lot of titles. Okay, and so with that being said, with that weight of the responsibility of building society, programming society, it is very important that we ourselves are maintaining that for our individual selves, or else we will not be able to produce it for you. We will not be able to program it into the civilization. Okay, it's very important. It's very, very important. All right, so Shadow would like to speak and say something. It is about this idea. You ever speak to a man? I won't say divine masculine, because I feel like there's a point missing in their heart, right? And they're telling you, skip that part. They ask you a question, so which would mean that they should come humbly. If you're asking a question, that means there's something that you are trying to gain understanding of. But when you're offering the explanation, they want you to break down your entire I guess thought process into little bites for them to understand. They want to be able to consume it, right? Digest it in little bites. They don't want you to freely express yourself. You must be very careful with this kind of entity. Okay, I'm not trying to place it on someone to demonize that person, but they've downloaded a consciousness in which they want you to speak to them as if you're a man. And then on top of it, criticize you, okay, and then call you too masculine. It is very strange, okay? For me, what I have observed is that these type of entities, they are looking for male companionship, male acceptance, right? They are not really willing to receive the love of women in the way that women are supposed to naturally express love, okay? It doesn't have these kind of constraints and frustrations. Love, of all important things to take away from this, is love is very patient. It is very patient. All right. And if this person cannot have the patience in order for you to express, think about your children. Think about when you're taking care of children, right? The most purest love, right? Because they're really dependent on you, and you chose to bring them here. Okay, you must have patience to meet them where they're at in order for them to be free to express themselves at will. You can't control their growth process. Okay, it's the same thing with women. It's the same thing with anybody, right? But the fact that you feel that you must constrict someone's voice or use your physical dominance here in order to control others from expressing themselves freely, it's called bullying. That's bullying. You're bullying someone. Okay? And this is where I recommend men having their own space so they can have their pecking order, but that order does not that order does not belong when it comes to a loving relationship. Okay? One should not try to control the other's way of expression. All right. Then we're going into this element of slavery. Let me take a pause. Stop meeting these situations with trying to be right. If you have knowledge about something, okay, and then you're trying to prove a point, you cannot come asking a question with your own frame of what you think the answer is. When you ask a question, you're seeking an answer from a particular person, right? You come humbly. If you're not seeking an answer, you're just trying to prove yourself to be right. It's not going to work. The connection will not be made, right? Because everyone has their own individual pathways to get to certain understandings. All right. So if I come and ask you a question, I'm asking humbly to figure out how you're, because the true love is right, trying to figure out how you came to this answer to gain understanding, not to be at war with, and not to try to prove something to my ego identity. You understand? So if you see these type of signs in your partner, you really must think about what level of consciousness this person has allowed to be embodied in their being, and see, is that really truly something that's compatible with you? Okay. All right. So next one is the love that you emit from yourself is what will be reflected back to you. The love that you emit from yourself is what will be reflected back to you. Is there any expounding on this? Whatever you do for yourself is what's going to be. That's the light you're going to emit. That's the frequency you're going to emit. Okay. So in your everyday choices, if you choose to go do this, that, make sure whatever those choices are, it shows love to yourself in some type of way. Okay. In some type of way. You have your divine trinity, your masculine, feminine, and the inner child intact. Holy Trinity is whole, solid. You just go ahead and take that energy and put it toward everything that's bringing love to yourself, everything that's bringing respect to yourself. Okay? Safety is built into love. Security is built into love. All right? I know, shout out to Tiwa Savage. I am a fan of her, but she has this song that also irks me. You guys must listen to the words, all right? Listen to the words. And yes, do these thought forms exist? Yes, but I don't want it to be embodied in me. All right? There's certain songs where she says, if you don't give me quality attention, I might just go get it from somebody else. Pay attention to this frequency. All right. So you want to have quality attention, and instead what you do, you cause a threat, or you try to cause insecurity in the heart of someone else by saying you can get it from somebody else. Okay? Love is freedom. All right? And it's not for me to now try to entice jealous spirit into your body. Jealous spirit it's not healthy for you. It's not conducive. It's not conducive. And it also shows insecurity. All right, you want attention from me, so what you're saying is now you're trying to threaten the affection that I have for you. Right? These are very immature ways in order to do this. You get attention from people from all different levels of life. Okay? What one can give you attention for, the other one may not have the desire to give you that type of attention. Okay? This is why you must learn yourself holistically and stop just equating love with sex. Right? Don't allow this to trigger your lower level nature. If you like, for example, I'll just use an example. If you like knitting, okay, and your partner doesn't really care for knitting, but you find love and enjoyment in knitting. So then you have a group online of people who like to knit, And then you guys are all sharing attention because you get the center point of that love is for the knitting. That's the resonance, the love for knitting. Okay. Why would you now be, you cannot, if your mate comes over and you're now expressing love in this way, and then they're like, well, I need your attention too. There's two things that could happen. You can actually find something for you to actually find love into doing too, but you cannot try to cipher something that I love to do to try to filter just in your presence. And then on top of it, you can't be like, well, if you're going to be hanging out doing knitting all day, I'll just go get my tension from somewhere else. That's not love. Is that what you just said? Was that love? Was that a loving way to express that you would like to spend more time? Instead, let's have a solution-based idea where we can set a date and maybe we can spend some quality time together. But it's not, love is not battling each other. Okay? You cannot be everything to one person. All right? The way that you and the way that people are interpreting this is now getting jealous about other things that other people love. And that is very insecure. And this is what, it's not, insecurity is not a place for you to be like getting ashamed of. It's just now it's time for you to secure it. Find the pathways in consciousness to get to the point where you are secure in that. And above all else, let truth live in your heart. Is there going to be contrasting ideas? Are you guys going to be growing and learning? Yes. But the foundation should always be there. And love is respect. Love is safe. Love is acceptance. Okay, you're not going to show up perfect, but if the foundation is one of truth, if the foundation of one is security, and you're not a partner to me that's trying to introduce insecurity to a already solid foundation, you become the op when you do that. All right, because those of us who really do be having love as a center point, right? That the Christ consciousness as a center point in our being, we are divinely protected by it. That protection comes heavy. All right. Love is not the weakness of the vulnerability. It's the key to transcend all layers of existence with protection. All right. When you operate in the heart, divine protection is initiated in both the shadow and the light. That's why you don't have to walk around with fear in your heart. Okay. If you're with someone and they're trying to introduce some type of fear, right? Or in their mind, they're like, if you value me, you wouldn't want me to get attention from somebody else. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And it also don't make any sense because you get attention from everyone. Everyone loves your songs. I assume you love to sing because I love your songs. 49 sitting, 99 cents. Oh my God, oh. I get money before, no leave property, oh. Waiting for Dampa, waiting for Uber and Nakana. No be so me, I want to live. Oh. See, I don't forget the words, but because I listen to your music all the time, it programmed in my body. I assume you like it because the vibration is fire, fire, fire. Understand what I'm saying? So you get attention from plenty people, mama. You don't need to threaten this. Find peace in your stillness. So if somebody cannot come and give you attention, like, oh, that you have enough of that frequency of love to maintain your resonance, that you don't go into an insecure place in which you're now trying to cause insecurity in that love. And not only that, you just have to deliver. The delivery is everything. Like, hey, I want to spend some time with you. That's all you have to say. You know what I mean? Now, if your intuition is picking up on some kind of deception energy, right, which is very much true, all you got to do is wait. Right? Because the universe, as I'm walking this walk, I'm telling you, when I'm like love, frequency is a center point, I get protected. Oh, it's automatically built into the programming. Right? That's why love frequency is here, right? It's here. It rises above all of the lower level ones like security, right? Sacral energy, creative energy. Then we have the will, right? It's higher than those. The frequency is higher. Okay? The energy signature is higher. Okay, and I wrote this down so you guys can see. just a little bit, right? So this is when we say frequency, this is a wavelength, right? Everything that is around us, everything in our existence emits a certain wavelength. This right here, you see how low and it's long? It's a long wavelength. When you say frequency, we're talking about the points here. How many of these in a certain time can pass through? This is a low frequency because there's only two highs and lows, right? You see that? High, low, we got two. Frequency two, right? Then we have the higher frequencies. They gain higher altitudes which store energy, higher level energy, all right? And they have more. It's more it's emitting a higher frequency. Gamma rays are the ones that go really, really high, really high, really high. All right. This is like the Hulk status. Gamma radiation, right? He can embody higher frequencies, higher level energies. All right. This has to do with consciousness as well. All right. So when we talk about this, is what we're talking about. So love is a higher frequency than the lower ones down here. Okay. Which sometimes I'll be thinking, wow, because the sacral energy is low and that's like God power. Just off the rip, you're born with that. Off the rip. All right. So it's only as you grow into it, you understand that it's a very powerful energy. So you want to be able to unlock and reach these other frequencies and to create from that space a higher level dimension, a higher level way of thinking, a higher level way of being. If you're stuck below here, insecurity is just going to keep going down and down, and all of your creation, including your life, is going to be capped at that frequency until you're able to transcend it. Another point here, it says love is peaceful even through contrast. So even if you're bringing forth issues, turbulence in your flow, okay, you see how this little sailor is here, right? It's still at peace. We go high, we go low, we ride the waves. You can't ride this wave, or you can't ride this wave. Actually, that song is, yes, okay, it's a good song, but the point I'm trying to make is that you want to ride the waves. You want to be able to ride the waves peacefully. Okay? All right. So love is the most valuable currency. Love is bonded in security. You must be secure. If you are trying to introduce elements of jealousy, if you're trying to introduce elements of competition, if you're trying, this is all, it's lies, it's deception, right? Because you're creating your reality. There's really nothing, everyone's just creating their own world within the world. Okay? So it's a facade to really be in competition with somebody else. Okay? Everyone's just playing their role divinely. You get to choose who is part of your world, though. Okay? The power lies in one's heart. You will drown in chaos if you keep traversing from your lower regions to your mind, right? Let's say you haven't unlocked your heart chakra, right? You haven't understood the entity of love yet. You haven't embodied love yet for oneself, right? To include all the things that I just mentioned as the definition of love, as being peace, safe, accepting, patient. Okay? If you haven't embodied these frequencies yet, what you're going to start doing is you're going to go from lower level to higher level, lower level to higher level. And some people will even introduce, like, for example, if you are smoking, right? You're smoking some kind of herb, right? Which has its own frequency resonance that's maybe higher than yours in your current paradigm, right? You coming from an insecure place, you're still dwelling in the past traumas of your life that has already been over. Shout out to Rafiki, from Lion King, right? It's in the past. Let's move forward. Let's move forward, right? So if you have that energy and it's insecure and you go up to your crown, right? You start thinking a lot. You start witnessing things from an insecure mindset, right? Because remember, that's the portal you decide to enter. Fragmentation, unbalanced. You go up to the brain. Now you start projecting you start projecting that. This is not very sustainable. Things must be filtered through the heart space. One, because it shows the elements of truth. Your heart is key to open up new paradigms. So if you are being deceptive to yourself, if you're lying to oneself, if you're not able to accept or receive love, if you're unable to let down your boundaries to accept and receive love in your present moment due to past trauma, that's you're just going to keep reliving the loop, reliving the loop. You're going to keep attracting the same kind of spirits on that resonance because that resonance is just existing, right? And if you notice, if you really stop and think about it, as you're getting older, right? Those resonances just exist. It's just there's a new class that comes forth, a new class that comes forth, right? Now, as you're going through, you're going to come up with some people who are upperclassmen, meaning they just graduated from whatever conceptual understanding you're about to get into, right? When you meet people on a frequency, they're about to enter another gateway. You're now coming into the gateway that they need to find understanding. You're probably playing some kind of character, right? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Okay, that scenario. All right, the upperclassmen can take advantage of you sometimes, but you just allow the universe to balance that out. Okay, but some upperclassmen, they come back just to help you. Here's the notes. All right, you ever go through when you go through school, right? You make notes in your notebook, right? This is life. This is life, so school of life. Okay, and then you leave your notes for people behind you so they can also make it out of whatever experience that is. Shout out to Charm. Okay, that is what it is. All right, they wanted me to bring it back and say love is bonded in security. So that's the whole point, right? So cleaning up your heart opens up portals to new realities of existence that allow freedom from the past. So be present and don't try to escape, just simply create. All right, and as you guys are creating from a place of love frequency, place of, again, you can replace these words love with the words I gave you before: patience, safety, acceptance, respect. Okay, protection is just granted. The universe balances because that was the frequency that you already meet, was already secure. You're already secure. You already had the power of creation from your sacral energy. You already had the willpower because the willpower allowed you to bring it from the spirit into physical, to make it a reality. Okay, that means your will has weight, and then it's backed by the heart frequency. Okay, where it's like boom, boom, that resonance of like, yes, I'm alive. Tears to cry, let them know that we alive. Yeah, yeah. Right? Okay. So this is happening consistently. We're just asking for you to tweak your brain a little bit to do it consciously. Recognize what areas you're feeling insecure and then secure it. That's all. That's all that we're asking for. It's not a point of condemnation. Like, you're just insecure. Like, I hate when people try to use these things as a way to attack others because you're not making the situation any better. Shout out to the episode of Pop the Balloon with that tall doctor guy. And I'll go like this. I'm sure he actually has a degree, but he was just such, his energy is just nasty, right? It's like the type of energy in which people are telling you truth in order to hurt you intentionally. They're not delivering the truth out of love. It's a frequency. You can feel it. You can feel it. That person actually needs more therapy than I think anybody else. Because it's like, why are you weaponizing the truth? And why are you weaponizing love? It sounds like maybe you are hurt by someone who carried this particular frequency in the past, and you have not healed or forgiven that person. And so now you are now attacking this person for carrying that same frequency instead of correcting them so they don't become this repetitive cycle. You see what I'm saying? All right. So make sure you're working on your security. Make sure any insecurities that you have, you make sure that they are secure. All you got to do is change your perception on it. Okay? Be grounded in the new perception. Okay? One of security. Right? I need to take a pause. And next we're going to talk about past the security is the sacral energy. All right. So the sacral energy. All right? Now, when you're young, everyone is born with this sacral energy. And as you hit puberty, that's when it starts, coming up. Like, I want to create. I want to have sex. I want to do all this. Like, it's like this energy that comes out, right? Now, depending on which home you were born into, right? One, if you didn't have like a secure family unit, or if you were grown up thinking that sex was a bad thing, depending on whatever level of knowledge whoever was your guardians or caretakers kind of shape how you view sex. Okay. Now, for a lot of people, a lot of girls, right, it was demonized. It was demonized, right? Meaning that you should be ashamed of it, right? But it's still something, in the truth, it's something that wants to be expressed. But you may be too young, and then someone, maybe a feminine figure, should be sitting you down and actually explaining this, so you're not ashamed of it, but at the same time you hold it sacred, sacral, because this is, from this, life can be made, including your own life. All right. And so we want you to do this consciously. We want you to do this with a fully developed brain. And that all you got to do is try to explain this to younger people. Because what starts happening is, if you shame it, what is the truth is that it is inside of them. They're going to want to express it. Some of us, children of God, are born with very healthy sexual expressions, meaning it is up. We are primal and natural in that nature. Okay. So demonizing it would now cause them to have some kind of shame. These are the type of girls who later on end up trying to overcome the shame by being overly sexualized. All right. Everything is about a balance. You need to balance it out and do it responsibly, because the whole point, like I said, if you love, right, you want to make sure that sacral energy is still grounded and connected to the heart space, to the love space, to love oneself. Remember, to have respect for oneself. Okay, and that can vary, but we need to make sure that you are firm on what respect for yourself means. Okay? And respect has to come from the level of safety one is in. Okay? So, with all that being said, instead of sacral energy, sexual energy is not a bad thing. It's not something that should be demonized. These are the type of girls who also get into the mind frame, if you guys can follow me, into desiring forced sexual experiences. This way they don't have to be accountable for the choice, the freedom to give themselves in freely, right? Because if they're ashamed of their sexual expression and they want to express it, they would rather submit for someone to come and take it from them, right? So they can have the experience without feeling shame about it. And then then starts bringing forth a victimization mentality. So my advice to women, especially families with daughters, okay, and men, I don't see it's wrong for men to have this kind of conversation with their daughters as well, right? As long as it's based in truth, right? This is why your father is supposed to be the figure that is, I'm not going to say supposed to be, but that in a healthy mentality is that your father is a man that will love you, but not from the eyes of sexual lust. Okay, because these things do exist in the world. Lust and love exist in the world. It's now for us to try to teach this young woman to tell the difference. Love does not bring forth competitive spirit, nor jealousy or envy. It's impossible for love, the frequency of love, to emit that. So if your relationship has come from this idea of competition, lying, deception, lack of respect in any plane, emotional, physical, or mental, then you're in lust. It's not coming from love. You're in a skewed mentality thinking that this is love when it's actually lust. Fragmented. It's not holistic. Okay? And anything your creation out of that will not have the light of God in it. It wouldn't have the energy of God in it. All right? And I'm just being real. All right? I'm just being real. Death lives there. Okay? So you want to teach your children the difference between these energies, especially the girls, because the girls have the responsibility to choose partners freely, to choose partners bonded in love, so that we are creating a society that has that as the core. It's not a fragmented society. It's a holistic society, higher level energy, higher level frequency. Okay. Okay. So It's a fine line. You don't want her to be ashamed of it. You don't want any of the children to be ashamed of it, but you want them to understand the importance of it and why it's ideal to be patient, because love is very patient, right? You want that to be integral into the experience. So when you are actually when you decide to sleep with a man, or you guys are having sexual exchange, it's not coming from a place of shame. It's not coming from a place of um, lust. You want it to be one of love, okay? Which is very patient. You should never be pressured into this, okay? Love is extremely free. It's extremely freeing, okay? Love is freedom, right? So it's not about controlling or trying to condemn or, setting this stuff. No, the boundaries are only there to make sure that we are operating within the same frequency of love, not for you to try to control, for your own egoic energy to be fed. Selfishness. Okay? Please understand this. All right, so I wrote, hold on to laughter, love, and the memories that echoed back to you that love exists. All right, so when we talk about the past, you're going to have some memories in the past that's going to bring forth some good feelings, right? It's okay. The past meets you in your present all the time, right? When you're present, sometimes you might, oh, this reminds me of this, and you see how I just did that? This reminds me of this, and you start smiling, right? It's okay to indulge in these memories. All right. If something of trauma is being triggered, it's very important that you don't just ignore it, right? But you sit down with it and remember the codes that got you out of that space. Remember the codes that were able to get you out that space, which is okay to sit with it as long as it needs to in order for the integration to mend that experience. Okay? You sacrifice all other thoughts, keeping you chained to suffering. That's the point. We don't want you to be chained to suffering. We want your vibration, your thoughts mentally. Remember love, all three planes. You want your thoughts and your emotions, right? And your physical being to be all channeled for you to break free from the chains of the past. When you operate in the heart, divine protection is initiated in both the shadow and the light. So we don't want you to be scared of expressing love to others, because maybe you have a bad experience of when you showed up with your heart and then someone treated you poorly. We don't want that. We don't want you to be living in that state of mind. We want you to be able to transcend it. Okay? So that you're able to still receive love, because there's more people in the world that wants to love you for you being genuinely yourself, your genuine, authentic self. So keep shining bright, y'all. Okay? Arm yourself with the love of life. That is the protection. You love your life. Guess what? Your spiritual team, the people who come before you, their spirits are with you. Your higher level of consciousness, the deities who operate on higher level frequencies, who've been watching, guiding you, loving on you, right? Trying to set up the situation so you can magnify that love for you. It embeds you in protection. The art of becoming. Allow truth to dwell in your heart and you will rise above all misalignment. The universe does the heavy lifting. The universe does the heavy lifting. Okay? Let me write that. Let me keep reading. You cannot manipulate. Hold on, let me take a pause and make sure I know what I'm saying. All right, so then I wrote down this thing. This came when I literally woke up and this was like the first thing I wrote. So like when I do that, my writing be all kind of jumbled up. All right. You cannot manipulate me because I have love for myself. And any love that I have shown to you is covered with divine protection. Anything that contrasts the love I have for self will be restored by the love given, for I am the source. Okay? So for example, if you go forth now and you show love to someone else, that love that you're able to give was cultivated within yourself. Okay? If that person chooses to now manipulate or cause disruption or disrespect you or provide an unsafe environment for you, that love will return back onto you because you were the source of that love to be given. Some people, like I said, you have to be able to receive love. If you're not in the mindset of receiving love, meaning you're living in your mental space, then going back to your secure space and going to your mental space and you're trying to bypass the heart, which is key. The heart is key to change your reality. If you're trying to bypass that, right, you won't be able to receive love. You won't be able to reach the frequency. in which the higher level energies are dwelling. Okay. Now, I'm not saying, right, as long as you're as long as you can feel your heart beat, you're going to be creating some type of reality, right? I'm saying that there's those of us who don't want to live in that reality, which, okay, it's toxic. It doesn't go with our frequency. All right. And there's going to be a misalignment. All right. And I'm saying this out of love, by the way. Okay. I know the other day I did make a video. I made a statement in which I was saying, if you are making bad decisions for yourself, right, then I'm going to leave, or something like that. Something to that effect. And I want to say, it's not that I will not support you, right? It's just that I am under heavy protection to not let unstable forces take me with them. So I could only show love as much as you're able to receive it. Okay. And I'm not a savior. Okay. I have Christ consciousness, but I'm not Jesus Christ. Okay. I am a child of God, but I'm not Jesus Christ. Meaning I'm not going to have you sitting here on your cross with you and then getting suffering. You're beating on me, throwing stones. Meanwhile, it's a whole reflection of what's inside of your heart. Hell nah. Hell to the nah, nah, nah. Okay. That's my brother. That's my big bro. Shout out to Destiny. Right? Big bro. All right. He lives so we can see. I'd be like, nah, I ain't going down that route. Those people. All right. You unstable. You going to be unstable over there. But I'll pray. And when I say this, I really do mean it. I mean it. If I share love with you, right, and you're unable to receive it, it doesn't feel right for me to try to condemn you. Right. We don't rise to condemn. Right. We rise in order to gain knowledge, period. All right. So in the ether, I will just send my spirit. So if you're able to reach, if during your little cloud of nonsense and craziness, if you're able to reach that frequency, you'll find me there. You may not find my flesh there, but you're definitely going to find my spirit. All right. All right. May everyone get there eventually. May everyone get there eventually. That's another thing, right? We're laughing, we're having a good time, but at the end of the day, we want everybody to get there because nobody wants to be in heaven alone. We don't want to be lonely at the top. Lonely, lonely, lonely. All right. We don't want that. We don't want to be lonely. All right. So what else we got? We got love is not a weakness of vulnerability. It's the key to traverse all layers of existence. Every portal I'm opening has to come from that frequency of love. I'm done with the hell aspect. I'm done with the misaligned aspect. Okay? And everything operates in balance. So why is it that certain people could drink alcohol, have a good time, still come back into the frequency of love? Well, first of all, alcohol is a depressant. Okay. So if you don't have enough energy, if you don't have that thing already where you're already high vibrational, right, in your recovery process, I don't suggest you going down to hell, because the Schumann resonance of the earth is just getting hotter at this moment in time. All right. And you have to be able to reach heaven. If you're unable to reach heaven, you're never going to know what it is. You're just going to keep sinking under that wave, right? You're always going to find yourself under the wave instead of riding it. Okay. So if you don't got that, if you can't spiritually afford it, I don't recommend it. All right. You have to go through the journey. You got to do the work. You have to sacrifice certain things. Okay. Including thought forms, certain things that you're doing to yourself. You must try to operate from an entity of love on your everyday basis. If you're sitting there and you're like, does this show love to myself? That's the question, right? We don't overindulge in anything. We don't drink to get drunk. But if you do drink in order to meet each other on a certain level, you meet on that level, you have that experience, and then you ascend back up again. All right? It's not a need or anything like that. So you don't have to condemn our brothers and sisters. Okay? Everyone gets there eventually. All right? I'm not promoting alcohol. I'm not promoting it. It's different spirits. Some people can traverse these streets with different spirits and still maintain their light. They can. I don't think it's most of y'all. All right? Because we have to still be operating in truth. You know what I'm saying? That's why, who was it? The Dalai Lama? I don't know. A lot of these spiritual teachers, I don't really know, but someone said, oh, he took a drink or something like that. And yeah, it's not about the drink. It's about the frequency in which you automatically maintain to. Because remember, the universe recognized that, right? If you look at neuroKnowledge, he talks about this. He talks about maintaining your frequency. So if I dip down to a low level frequency, right, one of which I don't really belong in, the universe will grab my back up and bring me back up high vibrationally. Right? Because I've set up enough resonance on a certain timeline that's true to my existence. All right. So it works both ways. Some people are operating down here, but they could peak up here for a little bit, right? But when the earth starts doing her thing, connecting with the sun, and they're over here making love with one another, all right, they peak up for 2 seconds and then they go back down because they have established too much of a resonance on this frequency. All right, establish a frequency of love. Hold on to this frequency and put all your money chips or whatever it is you would put all your energy on this frequency right here. This way, when the earth is doing the thing and there's contrast that comes, you don't dip too below that you end up establishing a lower level frequency. Okay? You want your momentum to run here. So even if you dip down here, it drags you, it pulls you back up. Because it's like, oh yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, some of y'all can't afford it because y'all were too much in the addiction frequency, right? Cigarettes. You're too much in the addiction frequency. Alcohol, right? Without actually giving enough breaks to allow the resonance of love, allow the resonance of self-care to be the establishment point. So then you start deterring your realities. You know, all your portals start shutting. Your connection points start shutting because you've now established a frequency on a lower level. All right. I love giving and I love receiving currency. Love is patient. All right. Lastly, okay. So love is not a weakness of the vulnerability. It is the key to transcend all layers of existence, including death. All right. Some of you guys are walking around with the fear of death, right? If you guys go watch Sinners, I'm not going to give any spoilers away, but that's one of the themes. All right. Those of you that want to live forever and be kings and queens of the misaligned world, the world of suffering. Okay, you want to be that. You want to be vampires. All right, you're afraid of actually dying, and it's really the ego death. Die before you actually have to die, so that your spirit is light. So when your flesh leaves you, you already know where you're going because you establish a higher level frequency on the frequency of love and connection with God. It's just that simple. If you're too much of the world, you're going to lose your soul. All right. Then you become vampiric. And then those who have the light of God coming up, like I said, because the resonance, they're just new generations and they all have that certain spirits that just gravitate to them. Right. You may try to deter them. Feed off of their light. Vampiric energy, because you haven't moved on with your classmates into the next life. You understand? All right. You got to get over the fear of death. All right. And then you're like, but I built this. Don't worry. We come back. Relax. You'll come back at any time. You just want to be in this flesh suit that you got right now. All right. Detach. You have to be okay with passing on and moving on to new lives. All right. And keeping the memories that were shared. Those are the little nugget packets to come back down. Okay. The ones where you experience love. The ones where you experience acceptance, the ones that you experience safety, respect, patience. Okay? These are little nuggets. That's the portals, pathways back into and from the past into the future. That's how you start time traveling. All right? Because the portals of the most strongest resonance are ones of actual love. Okay? Love and affection expressed, made physical in that reality. Okay? Sometimes it actually is through sex. All right? And that's okay. It's not a bad word. It's not a bad word. But you need to make sure that the resonance is there for that. Okay? Now, what if one person loves, the other person lusts? The person that lusts will regret it. That's all. The person that loved will understand why that experience happened, and they will cherish it. The person who lusts will realize when it's gone, when the love is gone, when that frequency, because the love frequency does not want to be partnered with lust. And it's the more you keep going down and not meeting the frequency of love, mentally, emotionally, and physical safety, mental, emotional, and physical acceptance, mental, emotional, and physical patience to become. Okay? Let love be your currency. All right. Now, earlier I was talking about, Shadow was talking about an entity that will ask questions, but they're not really seeking the answer. They're just trying to be right. I had a dream just now, and its name was Bibarus. I know this is getting a little. If you don't like the mysticism part of this channel, please just leave now. But I heard the name Bibarus, and it talks a lot. It doesn't like to admit when they are wrong. Ego and attention driven, right? They want the attention of their peers. They want to feel glorified above others. Bibarus. All right, that's just the name I got. But you all know this kind of entity. All right, they're not humbly not coming out of love. They're coming to try to prove that they're right. This is the point of why I'm posting these videos, because I'm showing you the art of becoming. I already committed to a certain timeline. All right, so, and in that timeline, love exists. In that timeline, truth exists. Okay? So, die to one's ego, one sense of identity, one of knowing, so that you can learn something. And trust me, if you're learning something and it's not based in truth, it will fall away. What you already thought will stand true. You don't have to fight. It's not a fighting thing. We don't have to. We're not fighting. I'm not arguing with you. What is it? Argue for what? My reality is my reality. At the end of the day, I get to go home and come home to this. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, keep it light. All right.